Hello and welcome to viewers in London and the South East. I'm Yetunde Yusuf. Smugglers are cramming an increasing number of migrants into small boats to cross the Channel, with some containing nearly 100 people on board. The Home Office has told BBC South East the average number of people per boat has risen to 53 this year, up from 10 in 2019. Today, government officials are set to hold talks about small boat smuggling with counterparts from France, Belgium, Germany and the Netherlands.
Small boat crossings are the most dangerous they have ever been. Numbers of people crossing are well recorded, and we're seeing over 30,000 people having crossed this year. However, we've also prevented with France 25,000 people, and the number of boats prevented stands at 865 year to date.
There's been more than a 15% rise in cases of pet neglect across the South East since last year, according to the RSPCA. The charity says it has seen more than 3,000 incidents in Kent, Sussex and Surrey this year. They're urging people struggling to look after their animals during winter to seek help before their pets become ill. Now, the number of patients waiting for endoscopy treatment at an NHS trust in Kent has more than halved in a year. The procedure helps medics examine the internal organs of a patient with a camera. Almost 14,000 people were on the waiting list in East Kent last September, but that's since dropped by 65% to fewer than 5,000 people. A woman who slept in her car after becoming homeless says her future is beginning to look a lot brighter after moving into a temporary home. Rosie was supported by Turning Tides in West Sussex after becoming homeless in January following the breakdown of a relationship.
Turning Tides have helped me so much. I moved into Roffey Place in March, and since then they've done nothing but support me with everything and anything, whether it be talking to somebody about my problems and my past trauma, or whether it's just been supporting me with applications for things. They've been really, really helpful and helped me get on the council housing list.
Mooring fees will be waived for boats at Ramsgate Harbour taking part in a World War II memorial event in France next year. About 60 boats from across Europe are expected to moor in the Kent Harbour next May before crossing over to Dunkirk for the 85th anniversary of Operation Dynamo. More than 300,000 Allied troops trapped on the beaches in France were rescued in 1940 by the little ships.
Fathers are being offered parenting advice and support as part of efforts to protect young people from crime and give them better opportunities. The Mayor's Violence Reduction Unit is spending £350,000 on local projects which aim to help dads with networking events like this bike ride, as well as trauma counselling and advice navigating the family courts.
What we know from listening to the 14,000 parents that we work with across London is that too often fathers are absent. And what we also see from evidence is that 60% of boys whose fathers are in custody unfortunately go on to offend. We're all about turning that around.
The NHS in London and the home counties is encouraging pregnant women and older people to get vaccinated against RSV to avoid a triple-demic of RSV, flu and COVID-19. It's offering the vaccines to women who are at least 28 weeks pregnant and people aged 75 to 79. RSV is a common infection that causes coughs and colds, but it can sometimes be serious. More stalking offenders will be fitted with GPS tags on release from prison to protect victims and prevent reoffending. It's part of the Mayor's £5.7 million GPS tagging programme, and it builds on measures announced by the government last week to protect victims. Next, it's 70 years today since Cutty Sark was brought to dry dock in Greenwich. To mark the anniversary, Royal Museums Greenwich is issuing a call out for people who remember the ship's arrival. So those people will now be in their 80s and 90s, and they'll be invited to record their memories in a museum project. The King will present the first Elizabeth emblems to the next of kin of public servants at Windsor Castle later today. Among the first to be awarded is the family of Police Constable Andrew Harper of Thames Valley Police. He was killed in the line of duty 5 years ago.
How can we help cut youth violence in our city? We join the dads building better relationships with their children to protect them from crime in the capital.
It's that generational trauma that some dads go through, you know, in terms of not having a dad there, not having a dad.
Also ahead tonight.
It's the season of giving, but how about giving back? Find out why shopping second-hand is this year's fashion for a thrifty Christmas.
I want to talk to you.
Plus, shaking off Bond for his latest film role that's just got him a Golden Globe nomination. We chat to Daniel Craig. And the Essex nail artist who said she cried after seeing her work on the big screen for one of the most famous musical roles. A huge advertising screen above the concourse at Euston station will now be used to display train information, with testing to start tomorrow. It's after Network Rail was criticised for replacing the old departures board with advertising. In October, the former Transport Secretary, Louise Haigh, ordered the screens to be switched off. The boss of Thames Water has defended executive bonuses despite a sharp rise in pollution incidents. He says the company needs competitive packages to attract top talent, while it pushes the water regulator Ofwat for a 59% hike in bills over 5 years to stay afloat. Plans for a new Chinese embassy opposite the Tower of London have been opposed by the local council. China bought the Royal Mint Court site 6 years ago and wants to build the largest embassy in Britain. The final decision rests with the Deputy PM and Community Secretary, Angela Rayner. And Millwall Football Club have announced they've mutually agreed to part company with manager Neil Harris. He will leave after Saturday's match in Middlesbrough.